Hey, Teacher Aaron, what are you up to?
Well, Pastor Tina, I'm getting ready to go on the journey to find a long and happy life. I'm going to find out what the secret is to it. If I have to go around the whole world, I've got all my plane tickets and everything.
A long and happy life?
That's right.
Teacher Aaron, if you want to know about a long and happy life, maybe you should read Ephesians chapter 6, verses 1 through 3.
Ephesians 6, chapter 6, verses 1 through 3. Well, I do have my adventure Bible right here. I guess I could look that up before I take off. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1 through 3. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you, and that you may have and may enjoy long life on this earth. Are you telling me that I got all these tickets to go around the world and all I need was my Bible?
Well, going around the world sounds like a lot of fun, and you probably would enjoy that. But yes, your Bible has a lot of answers on how to have a long and happy life.
I guess I should spend some more time in here, and I guess I'll talk to you kids here shortly. Hey there, Valor Kids. We're going to be doing our reading today in our Adventure Bible, and it's the story of Ruth. But we're only going to read a little bit of it here today. We're going to do Ruth chapter 1, verses 6 through 18, and then we're going to finish up in chapter 2, verses 2 through 13. So if you've got your Adventure Bible with you, you can hop right in here and join me. Now, Ruth is a small little book. It's only 4 chapters long. It's right after Judges, right before 1 Samuel. And if you have your Adventure Bible, it starts on page 296, which is where we're going to be starting today in verse 6. Now, when Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had come to the aid of his people by providing food for them, she and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there. You see, Naomi had 2 daughters-in-law from both of her sons who had passed away, and her husband had passed away as well when they had left the land to go live in Moab. Now she's hearing, hey, back at home, everything's starting to turn out good, so she's going to return home. But she's got these 2 daughter-in-laws with her, so let's see what she happens to do. With her 2 daughters-in-law, she left the place where she had been living and set out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. Then Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, go back, each of you, to your mother's home. May the Lord show you kindness as you have shown kindness to your dead husbands and to me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband. Then she kissed them goodbye, and they wept aloud and said to her, we will go back with you to your people. You see, Naomi was telling them, hey, I'm not going to hold you to coming with me back to my homeland. This is your homeland. Go back to your mom's house. Go back to your family and your friends. You'll find another husband. I'm not going to tie you down. Now let's see what they both said to her. But Naomi said, return home, my daughters. Why would you come with me? Am I going to have any more sons who could become your husbands? Return home, my daughters. I am too old to have another husband. Even if I thought there was still hope for me, even if I had a husband tonight and then gave birth to 2 sons, would you wait until they grew up? Would you remain unmarried for them? No, my daughters. It is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand is turned against me. And at this they wept aloud again. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung to her. Look, said Naomi, your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods. Go back with her. You see, Naomi was telling them, go back to your family, go home. And one of the daughters, Orpah, does that herself, but Ruth clings to Naomi. And here's what Ruth says in verse 16. But Ruth replied, don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. And where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me. When Naomi realized that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped urging her. You see, Ruth had the option to return back to the homeland of her family, back where her mom and dad had come from. But after being married to Naomi's son, she chose Ruth as her mother, she chose Naomi as her mother, and Naomi was heading back to her homeland in Judah. But Ruth said, no, I'm going to follow you. Where you go, I'm going to go. Whoever your God is, I'll take them as my God, and I'll follow you so long as it is. And then we're going to go to chapter 2, starting in verse 2 through 13. And Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "Let me go to the fields and pick up leftover grain behind anyone in whose eyes I find favor." Naomi said to her, "Go ahead, my daughter." So she went out and entered a field and began to glean behind the harvesters. And as it turned out, she was working in a field belonging to Boaz, who was from the clan of Elimelech. So this is actually someone who's not a stranger necessarily. It's a far-off family of Elimelech. But she was going to the harvest and glean behind the harvesters. Now she's picking up the grains that fell behind the people harvesting the wheat during the harvest season. So she's not out there getting full wheat or anything like that. She's just picking up what she can find and what she can carry. That way she and Naomi will have some food. So Ruth is doing her best to still supply for Naomi. And here we pick up in verse 4. Just then, Boaz arrived from Bethlehem and greeted the harvesters. "The Lord be with you." So how do you think the harvesters responded? "The Lord bless you," they answered. Boaz asked the overseer of his harvesters, "Who does that young woman belong to?" The overseer replied, "She is the Moabite who came back from Moab with Naomi. She said, 'Please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the harvesters.' She came into the field and has remained here from morning till now, except for a short rest in the shelter." So Boaz said to Ruth, "My daughter, listen to me. Don't go and glean in another field and don't go away from here. Stay here with the women who work for me. Watch the field where the men are harvesting and follow along after the women. I have told the men not to lay a hand on you, and whenever you are thirsty, go and get a drink from the water jars the men have filled." At this, she bowed down with her face to the ground. She asked him, "Why have I found such favor in your eyes that you noticed me a foreigner?" Boaz replied, "I have been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, how you left your father and mother in your homeland and came to live with a people you did not know before. May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge." Now you see here, what we're seeing is Ruth made a decision that she was going to give great honor to her mother-in-law, Naomi, and go back to Naomi's homeland, and she would take care of Naomi. She went out to go gather some of the droppings behind the harvesters. That way she could still continue to provide for Naomi. And when Boaz heard of this, that this was the Ruth that was working so hard to give honor to her mother-in-law, he took great favor and said, "May the Lord bless you." That's what he's saying right here. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge. She chose God. She chose Naomi, and she got rewarded because of it. That's what it means to have to honor your father and your mother, is to be continuously working towards helping them. Now, this is one of the things we're going to talk about today a little bit more as we get into our memory verse and a bunch of other stuff we got coming up. Hey there, Valor Kids! We're going to be learning our memory verse today, and you'll notice we have a lot of stuff written on the board here today. That's because our memory verse is included here. It's in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1 through 3. That's what we have on the board here. Now you'll notice this first part in purple, that's actually our memory verse. That's verse 1. But we also have verse 2 and 3 on here because we're going to read it because it's something really important. "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on the earth." So all of this is connected. So, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. But Paul goes on in this letter saying, honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, and the promise being so that it may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on the earth. So he's saying, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right, because there's this promise from the first commandment with a promise back in Exodus chapter 20, verse 12, which I'm going to hop to in my Adventure Bible right here. If you grab your Adventure Bible and go to Exodus chapter 20, verse 12, it's on page 87, it says, Honor your father and mother so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you. That's what Peter is writing about here in his letter. Paul is writing about here in his letter to the church at Ephesus. He wanted you to know that if you obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right, it goes with this promise, honor your father and mother so that it may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on the earth. So why did we talk about all this here today? Just to talk to you about your memory verse. If you remember earlier today, we read the story about Ruth, and I was talking about how she honored Naomi and got blessed, so much so that if you in fact go to your Bible to Matthew chapter 1, verse 1 through 16, it shows the genealogy of Ruth, all the way from Abraham all the way down to Jesus, and you'll see that Ruth is in fact in that list. She was so much so blessed that she got to be in the genealogy of Jesus. So, we're going to talk about our memory verse. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. So if you want to say it with me, we're going to read through it one more time here. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Now stick around, we're going to go and do our writing of that. Hey there, Valor Kids. We're going to be writing our memory verse today, and I have a pair of glasses here. You'll notice they're nice and pink ones, and you're going to have yourself a pair in your bag along with a Sharpie. That way you can write today's memory verse on your glasses. Now, if Teacher Tina will hand me those, I attempted this once before, and I'm just letting you know, I forgot one of the words when we were writing it. So we're going to try this again. And so if you take your Sharpie, and you take your glasses, we're going to write our memory verse, which is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. So the first word is children. Now, when you're starting to write this, just pick somewhere on the outer frame, and we're just going to write around all the way. So the first word is children, CHILDREN. The next word is obey. OBEY. And then the next word is your. YOUR. And then the next word is parents. PARENTS. And then the next word is IN. And then the next word is the. THE. The next word is Lord. Capital LORD. The next word is for. FOR. The next word is this. THIS. The next word is IS. And then the final word, right. RIGHT. So I've got mine going all the way around the outer edge of my sunglasses, so when I have them on, I have the word of the Lord in front of my face. But what did we forget? That's correct. We've still got to write down where the chapter and verse is located. Thankfully, I've got some room on the back. You'll notice I've been putting some little eyelashes on the inside here, so I'm going to find some room on the inside where I haven't already doodled, and I'm going to put the first word for our chapter, Ephesians. EPHESIANS. Now you'll notice I wrote it on that side there, so I'm going to flip it over and use the other side for the chapter and verse. Chapter number 6, then the 2 dots, and it's verse 1. So a number 1. So once you have that completed, you'll have the entire verse on the front of your glasses, and you'll know where it's located as soon as you take them off. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1. So make sure you have some fun and have some glasses that have the word on it. Hey there, Valor Kids. We're talking about family today, and so I'm always going to be wanting to talk about my family, like Pastor Tina and Pastor Scott, and then I've got a couple of my brothers here in the pictures. But why do we have such things out on display today on our set for set dressing, potentially you could call it? Well, we're talking about honoring your family, and so this picture here to my right is a picture of me with my two brothers. And whenever I see this, it gives me a memory of hanging out with my two brothers for that day when we were getting our picture taken. It's a great way for me to remember what it was like hanging out with them on that day. And if I take a look over here, I have here a trophy that my younger brother, I believe, had. Yep, my younger brother from 2005 when he was playing baseball. And I got to see my brother play a lot of baseball. So I have this trophy here. Whenever I see it and see his name on that plaque, I'll remember my younger brother playing baseball. And over here, I have a trophy. Now, if I recall correctly, this is my older brother's, yep, from 2005, from when he was doing cross country and track and field. That's why it's got a little guy running on the top of it. And I also participated as well. And so I have all these memories from seeing this of the times that I was out running cross country and track and field with my brother. Same thing with my younger brother when I see this trophy of us playing baseball. And I have this picture here. This is a picture of my parents. In this picture, I see both my parents, and it reminds me when they were younger, a lot of stuff we did when we were back then at that time. And I'm going to set this down as gently as I can because this is my mom's picture. And over here, you can't even see it when I hold it like this, but this is a trophy. And I'll try and get it in frame for you here that you can see is really tall. That's right. But this trophy actually is one that my dad has, and if I look at it, it'll tell me it's the 16th annual Autorama from Detroit, 1968. Now, when I see this, because my dad's had it for so long, when I see it, I remember my dad having it, but when he sees it, what does it make him remember? Have you ever thought about that? What do you have around your house that is from family that reminds you of them when you see it? A great example, something my dad got from one of his grandmas, are these little koalas right here. And you'll notice that they're little small things, but whenever he sees them, I wonder, does he sit and go, I remember back when I got that from my family. In fact, I've even got one that's bigger from my mom that she got from her grandma, that when she sees it and plays with it, she'll remember her grandma. You see, it's all of these things that we can accumulate that remind us of our family that we have in our house potentially or around us. But here's the thing. Did you know, when we were talking earlier, I pointed out that Ruth was actually one of the great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmothers of Jesus. That's why I said you should go look at it in Matthew chapter 1, verses 1 through 16. It actually shows every one of his great-grandmothers, every one of his great-grandfathers, all in that lineage, all the way down to Jesus. And now we're talking about Ruth today. Ruth got in that lineage because she decided to go with Naomi, said, your family will be my family, your God will be my God. And she got so honored by God by being able to be a part of the lineage that brought us Jesus. Oh, hey there, Valor Kids. We're getting our puppets here ready for a family photo, and you'll notice that we brought them all out. That way we can get them all inside this photo here. I think this looks pretty good, so I'll go ahead and take a break and sit down and chat for a little bit. But you'll notice there's something really interesting here. Not everybody in our family here of puppets looks exactly the same, and that might be the same thing with you and your family. But you'll notice that they're still all able to get together here for this family photo and actually be able to partake in it. Now, one of the cool things is we've been talking a lot about family and Ruth today. Did you know that Ruth, being the great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother of Jesus, had a family as well? That's right, I'm talking about Naomi. She chose to leave her home family and chose Naomi as her family. She said, your God will be my God as well. She made a choice. Now, if you think about it, she may have had a large family back at home where she had originally come from before she had married into Naomi's family. You see, she had married Naomi's son, but he had passed away. And that's why when Ruth said, I'm going to continue to follow you and stay as part of your family, and your family will be my family, your God will be my God. I'm going to go where you go, and where you end up going to rest, I will go to rest as well. Now, every family is a little bit different, but since I'm sitting here taking a break, I figured I'd take some ice cream here. I saw this in the freezer. It's actually Teacher Tina's, so I'm just going to have a little bit of it, and I'll put it back. You know, she gets the bestest of ice creams, I'm telling you. Like this here, it's the... Now that's an interesting thing. Well, she's got a lock on it. I think she happens to know that I like ice cream as much as she does, and so she has stopped me from getting her ice cream. But that's okay, because even if I can't share this with her right now because I chose to share it, she may very well choose to share it later with me when I ask her for it. And that's what I should have done in the first place too, is because she's my family, I should have said, hey, do you mind if I have some of your ice cream? And she could have said, yeah, go ahead. And I would have been able to take it, and she would have taken this lock off for me, and I would have been able to keep it myself. So we've been talking about family, and I hope you've enjoyed.